you ever stopped to think how much desire influences, well, pretty much everything? Your choices, your relationships, how you even see yourself. Is love, just biology? Or is there something deeper, something psychological going on way beneath the surface?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, and today we're diving into Carl Jung's perspective, which is, frankly, pretty radical.
It really is. He completely reframed how we look at sexuality.
Right. It's not just about the body for him. It's like a symbolic language.
Exactly. A language of the unconscious. An archetypal force, he called it. Something that shapes how we live, love, find meaning. The whole package.
So it's this deep psychic energy. And the sources we've looked at suggest that if you actually engage with it, it can transform into creativity, freedom, consciousness, even spirituality.
That's the core idea. Yeah, we've pulled from his collected works some modern analyses too, biographical stuff, try and give you a really unique angle on these, well, revolutionary thoughts.
So as we unpack all this, here's something to chew on. Do you feel like desire controls you, or can you actually control desire? We genuinely love to know how you see that.
It's a central tension.
Definitely. Okay, so most people hear sex and they think physical, right? Instinct, pleasure.
Reproduction, yeah. The basics.
The basics. But Jung just shakes that up completely. He says it goes way beyond the physical.
It's a huge leap. He argued, yeah, it starts in the body, but its real significance, its power comes from the unconscious.
And this archetypal energy idea, what does that practically mean?
Well, think of it like a universal pattern, a blueprint. It's not just your personal urges. It's connected to something ancient, something collective that shows up in myths, in stories, everywhere.
So desire isn't just wanting something.
It's more like a code, a language the unconscious uses. It pops up in dreams, fantasies, anxieties, what you search for in life, those desires. They're like encrypted messages from, well, your deeper self, your soul, maybe.
Well, okay, so if it's this fundamental language, how we deal with it must be critical.
Absolutely crucial. The sources are clear. If you misunderstand it, or worse, push it down.
Repress it.
Yeah, repress it. It becomes chaotic.
How so?
It can manifest as compulsions, inner conflicts, addictions, just deep frustration. It's like damming a powerful river. It'll break through somewhere, often messily.
But the flip side?
The flip side is fascinating. The moment you engage with it consciously, with awareness, it can be channeled.
Channeled into what?
Into things like art, insight, even real deep healing. That's the potential.
Healing from desire. That seems counterintuitive.
Well, Jung linked desire to what he called the movement of the soul. It's the energy that pushes us to seek, to connect, to create, to change.
Oh, yeah.
It makes us feel alive, intense, but it also, paradoxically, forces us to confront our shadows, our fears, our insecurities.
So it's part of a bigger energy.
Exactly. He used the term libido, but not just in the Freudian sexual sense. For Jung, libido is broader, a vital psychic energy. It could be desire for a person, sure, but also for an idea, a purpose.
Or even transforming yourself.
Precisely. Self-transformation. And the key thing is, this energy isn't static.
It can be changed, redirected.
Yes. Repression just hides it, lets it fester. But welcoming it, listening to its message, that allows integration.
And that's when sexuality shifts.
It shifts from just an impulse to a tool for growth. It becomes a bridge leading you not just outward, but inward to finding yourself.
So maybe take a moment, you listening. How might your own unexamined desires be showing up in your life right now?
Yeah. It's a powerful question.
Okay, so let's get more specific.
Yeah.
How does this energy actually operate? Jung gave us these two huge concepts, the anima and the animus.
Right. And it's crucial to remember this isn't about external gender.
No, it's the inner feminine and masculine psychological blueprints almost.
Archetypal forms, yeah. And they subtly influence who you're drawn to, why you connect or disconnect. The sources really emphasize how active these forces are.
And the projections, you said.
Projections from the unconscious, yes. They shape our feelings, who we idealize, our judgments, our choices, everything.
Think about it. Have you ever been intensely drawn to someone who logically maybe didn't make sense?
Or put someone on a pedestal, saw them as, like, you're missing half.
Totally.
Jung would say that's often an encounter with the unconscious. We project hidden parts of ourselves onto others.
And if we don't realize we're doing it,
that's when it gets messy. Idealization leads to disappointment, confusion. We're basically asking someone to be something that exists inside us.
okay, let's break them down. the anima that's in men.
Yes, the inner feminine in men. It connects to emotions, sensitivity, intuition, receptivity.
And when it's integrated,
Men can access those qualities without feeling threatened or ashamed. But if it's repressed,
then what?
it gets projected. It shows up as the idealized, perfect woman, the unattainable muse, or sometimes the dangerous femme fatale.
Right. And for women, it's the animus, the inner masculine.
Exactly. Represents reason, action, decisiveness, direction. When integrated, it brings strength, focus.
And when it's not integrated,
It can manifest as harsh self-criticism, that inner judge, or rigidity, maybe being overly rational. Or it gets projected as the ideal, strong, protective man who properly doesn't exist like that.
so these archetypes are constantly influencing our attractions, our expectations,
Constantly, unconsciously guiding who we seek and what we expect from them.
which sounds like a setup for disappointment if we're not aware.
It can be.
Yeah.
Which is why Jung's invitation is so important. Stop looking outside.
Look inside instead.
Yes, integrate these inner images. Let the inner masculine and feminine talk to each other, find a balance. The real relationship ultimately is with yourself.
So thinking back, have you ever idealized someone? Put them on that pedestal. What might that tell you about your own inner world? And this leads to another really provocative Jungian idea, that when we fall intensely in love, often we're just loving a mirror
A reflection of a projected part of ourselves. Yeah, it sounds a bit clinical maybe.
a little bit.
But think about that soulmate feeling, that instant, deep connection.
Right, like you've known them forever.
Jung would often point to that as the anima or animus in full swing. The unconscious is using that other person to show you something vital about yourself that's hidden.
So projections aren't bad. They have a purpose.
A profound purpose. They're the unconscious saying, hey, look at this. This needs attention. This needs to be integrated.
Can you give an example?
Sure. A man projecting his anima might be subconsciously trying to reconnect with his own emotional depth, maybe his creativity.
Okay.
A woman projecting her animus might be seeking her own inner strength, her assertiveness, her direction. It's not really about the other person ultimately.
But the problem arises when we don't see it that way.
Exactly. We demand the other person be the projection. We idealize them, expect perfection.
And then reality hits.
Right. The magic fades, frustration creeps in, maybe pain. That classic story of a beautiful beginning turning sour.
So the projection breaks.
In Jungian terms, yes, the idealized image crumbled. We see the actual imperfect human.
Which sounds negative, but you're saying it's not.
Jung saw it as necessary, even positive. The whole point of the projection, in a way, is to be broken.
Why?
Because that's the moment of opportunity. You can withdraw that projected image from the other person and reintegrate it into yourself.
Take it back inside.
Precisely. And that's when love shifts from being based on illusion to potentially becoming something real, something true.
So conscious love isn't about finding your other half.
It's about becoming whole yourself. You stop needing the other person to complete you.
They become a companion, not a savior.
Exactly. A fellow traveler, not the missing piece. And at that point, desire changes too. It stops being this desperate need.
And becomes
A power, a conscious energy. So think about those relationships where the initial magic wore off. What might Jung's idea reveal about your experience there?
Okay, but getting to that level of awareness, it requires facing something difficult, doesn't it? The shadow.
Yes, the step many people try to skip. The encounter with the shadow.
Define that for us again.
The shadow is basically everything we've rejected about ourselves. Everything hidden, repressed, denied. Maybe because society or family or just we decided it was unacceptable.
And sexuality, you're saying, often gets shoved deep into that shadow.
Very often. We learn early on that desire can be seen as ugly, sinful, dangerous. Whatever the label is,
But we bury it.
we try to, but it doesn't vanish. It leaks out as guilt, shame, fear.
Troubled relationships.
Definitely, or just weird behaviors we don't understand. There's that Jung quote,
What you deny dominates you.
and what you accept transforms you.
Exactly. So looking at our sexual shadow, at all that hidden stuff,
It's like reclaiming power.
gradually, yes, you start to regain control over your own energy.
Okay, but that sounds uncomfortable, maybe even painful.
Yeah.
How does facing the dark side lead to freedom?
Yeah.
Where do you even start?
It is uncomfortable, sometimes painful, absolutely.
Yeah.
But incredibly liberating in the long run. And the key is, it's not about acting on every impulse.
Right, not about just letting loose. No, it's about listening. Listening to what the impulse is trying to tell you. Desire speaks, you see. It reveals things,
Points to something needing attention.
often something you weren't even aware of. Wounds, limits, deep emotional needs, even the most intense, conflicting, maybe forbidden desires can carry vital messages.
Ah, okay. So it's understanding the message, not necessarily obeying the impulse.
That's the crucial distinction. And that understanding is what brings freedom. Not freedom to do anything, but freedom from being enslaved by anything.
Freedom to choose consciously.
Yes, to relate more truthfully, to break those repetitive cycles we get stuck in.
So the shadow isn't the enemy.
It's a portal to self-knowledge. And bringing sexuality into that exploration, it's like flicking a switch in a locked room. Scary at first, maybe.
But then you see what's actually there.
Exactly. Parts of yourself just waiting to be seen, understood, maybe even loved. It unlocks incredible strength.
Now, digging deeper into the psyche's symbols, Jung talked about a powerful duality within the feminine archetype.
Yes, the mother and the temptress, a duality that causes a lot of inner friction for people.
So the mother archetype,
Yeah.
that's about nurturing, protection.
Welcoming, care, emotional security, unconditional love, comfort. That feeling of being held safe.
But it can go too far.
Oh, definitely. If it's unbalanced, it can lead to unhealthy dependence, smothering over protection, or even losing yourself completely in service to another.
And the other side is the temptress.
Yes. She embodies passion, instinct, creative force, freedom. She's magnetic, provocative, awakens desire, risk, change.
She sounds like trouble, maybe. Historically.
She's often been demonized precisely because she touches on repressed desires for freedom, intensity, breaking free from safety nets. She represents a power that can feel disruptive.
And Jung's point is that both these figures, they're inside everyone.
Inside all of us, yeah, regardless of gender. These aren't literal women, they're psychic energies.
How do they play out?
Well, in men, they often get projected. A man might unconsciously seek a partner who is somehow both the nurturing mother and the exciting temptress.
Which is impossible.
Leading to frustration, yeah. Because no single person can perfectly embody that split ideal.
And in women,
It can create internal conflict, that feeling of, should I be sweet and accommodating, or bold and free, caring or desired? Like, you have to choose.
but Jung says they're not opposites.
They're complementary. Two sides of the same coin. Integration is key. Recognizing this duality within allows us to stop living in that conflict.
So a woman accepting her inner temptress,
Might feel freer to express her power, her creativity, her sensuality without shame.
and a man recognizing his mother projection.
Might learn he doesn't need a partner to provide that constant nurturing. He can develop self-care, self-soothing.
So these archetypes deeply influence our relationships, how we love, desire, reject, idealize.
And our own growth. Bringing them into awareness helps clarify, what am I genuinely seeking in another person versus what do I need to find and cultivate within myself?
It's quite a dance. Makes you
Huh.
think, how do these dynamics show up in your own life, your own relationships? That interplay of care and freedom, security and passion.
It's a lifelong exploration, really.
Okay, so after grappling with projections, archetypes, the shadow, Jung introduces this figure, the sexual hero.
Right, and we need to be clear, this is not the stereotypical the Don Juan figure.
No, what is it then?
Jung's hero is about conquering the self. It's someone who faces their deepest, most confusing desires, and instead of being consumed by them, finds their true self within them.
So they don't deny desire.
Not at all. They dive into it, but with awareness. They see it can be a trap, sure, but also a teacher.
How so?
Because desire reveals our wounds, our unmet needs, our hidden longings. By facing that, the hero starts to liberate themselves.
Not by stopping desire, but by understanding it.
Precisely, understanding what's behind the desire.
You know that feeling of being stuck, repeating the same relationship patterns, the same mistakes. Jung would likely say that's the hero's journey calling. Those patterns repeat until we learn the lesson
Until we stop looking outside for the answer.
and start looking inside.
Right.
The sexual hero learns to take that raw energy of desire and channel it, transform it.
Into creativity, healing.
Yes, into what Jung called sublimation. But again, not repression, not making it artificially spiritual.
What is it then?
It's genuinely transmuting the energy into something that expands consciousness. Art, yes. Real, authentic connection, personal growth, creating something meaningful. It's like using the fire not to get burned, but to light the way.
And this journey, it's personal, but it affects others too.
Absolutely. The more self-aware we become, the more truthful our relationships are, less manipulation, less hurting each other, less relying on someone else to make us feel whole.
So the hero overcomes through desire and brings back wisdom.
That's the essence of it. They return with a deeper understanding of themselves and life, which brings us back to sexuality as this bridge.
A bridge between instinct and spirit, between what drives us and what transforms us. It's potent psychic energy, not limited to the physical act.
It reminds me of how some ancient traditions viewed sex.
Exactly. As ritual, as meditation, a symbol of union beyond the ego. Two souls recognizing each other, facilitating transformation.
Which feels very different from how modern culture often treats it.
Very different, often reduced to a product, performance metric, or just a distraction.
But you're saying the unconscious remembers that deeper meaning.
Our deep psyche hasn't forgotten. And when we approach desire with more presence, less judgment, it feels like a call.
A call for what?
For expansion. It's not about denying the body, but moving through the body to connect with something deeper, maybe the soul. Letting instinct teach, but not rule.
Feeling it, but transforming the feeling into wisdom.
That's the path, allowing yourself to feel fully while learning from those feelings.
So what does this all really mean for you listening right now? It suggests that conscious engagement with this energy, it doesn't just change your relationships.
It changes your whole life.
Yeah. You move with more presence, more wholeness, more truth. You start chasing external fixes.
And start creating from within. Jung believed fulfillment comes from uniting opposites inside ourselves.
And sexuality is a direct path to that.
One of the most direct. Because it forces us to confront desire and fear, pleasure and pain, instinct and spirit. It's a powerful invitation.
To grow, to wake up, to become more fully human, more whole.
So in the end, desire, it's really just the starting point. It's a compass, a powerful language from your unconscious pointing you inward.
And what you do with that energy, how you engage with that message, that's what defines who you are becoming. We really hope this deep dive inspires you to continue your own journey with these potent inner forces. They're keys, really. Keys to growth and ultimately self-mastery.